Welcome back to Planet Doug, and I'm walking alongside the Klang River here in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. And I was just thinking that quite often, no matter where I am in Malaysia or Sumatra or in the world in general, in your neighborhood there's often a little cafe or a restaurant or someplace that catches your eye, and every time you see it you think, I should check that place out, but then you never ever get around to it. So today for lunch, late afternoon lunch, early dinner, I thought I would finally go to one of these places that I keep noticing. It's a place here near my hotel, actually. There's the J Hostel, Masjid India right there. It's very near Masjid Jamak LRT station, and you got the Klang River and kind of a little India neighborhood over here. So I go to a lot of restaurants in this area, and there's one down here at the very end of this road. This is a very famous local restaurant, ABC Bistro, stands for Always Best Choice. And over here, I believe, is the famous, what do they call it, Mountain Tea Shop, I think it's called. A lot of foreigners go here for their roti canai. And then, Mansion, that's what it's called. I don't know why I said mountain. Mansion. So this is the Mansion tea stall. Got a truck coming up behind me. And then if you keep going down this street along the river, right here, Lakeshore Grill. Every time I walk by here so many times, and every time I think I really should check this place out. It's kind of a funny name, of course, when you think about it. Lakeshore. Of course, there's no lake anywhere near here, so it's more of a river shore grill. But hey, both have water, so I'll give it to them. So yeah, I was looking at their menu online. If you go to their listing on Google Maps, someone posted photos of their entire menu. And you can get burgers here and kebab and all kinds of different things. So yeah, I'm going to take a look at the menu and have my lunch here. First time ever, after all this time. Yeah, very pleasant experience so far. It's not crowded, as you can see. There's no one here except me. And it turns out there might be a reason for that. They have quite an extensive menu. It's here. And yeah, like page after page after page, all kinds of like buttered naan and on and on and on. But that is only available in the evening. So they have a Lakeshore Grill buffet special on this one page, and this is kind of their daily menu. And you have to come here like 8, 9 p.m. They start serving all of their specialty foods. But middle of the day like this is it. But that's fine with me. I ordered white rice for 3 ringgit and like beef curry for 2 ringgit. And then I ordered mixed vegetables and some sort of potato dish. So those 4 things and ice water. But yeah, they have tons more here. All kinds of, nasi goreng dishes and yeah, on and on. Like even French fries. They have a special burger, grilled chicken nuggets. It's on the other side of this one. Now, satay. That's what actually what I was really wanted to get was satay. But it's not available. Telur goreng, like fried eggs. Shawarma, chicken shawarma, beef shawarma. So, like I said, they have a huge menu. Garlic naan, chili cheese naan, tandoori chicken. But all of this fun-looking stuff is not available right now. So I was restricted to the... So we've got the white rice coming very quickly. So I'm assuming these buffet items are all kind of ready to go, like a big tub of beef curry ready to go. So I think everything I ordered is sort of like buffet style. So yeah, it's already made. So my rice is already here. I'm a little bit confused about the prices. We'll see what the final bill looks like. But based on their buffet special menu, the prices seem way too low like I ordered the beef curry. They have it listed as an add-on for 2 ringgit, and this is the dish that they brought me. I mean, for an add-on dish, beef, that's huge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 big pieces of beef for 2 ringgit. Seems very low, so I have a feeling it must be more than that, but we'll see. And here's the potato. I thought there'd be like a big plate of them, but you just get one at a time. The mixed veggies and the rice. So yeah, there's my lunch. So yeah, let's dive into this. I'm pretty happy with my selection. Even a nice little plate of veggies, which is just sort of given as a extra on your table. But yeah, I mean, can't go wrong with this, right? Look at that. I wasn't expecting anything when they first talked about the menu that, oh, there's only a small number of items available. I thought, ooh, that may not work out, but this is great as a buffet selection. This looks amazing. So got some of the beef, but some of the mixed veggies. Yeah, that's one issue I have with most of the restaurants in this neighborhood. They're like Indian restaurants, and they have like a buffet style. I eat there all the time, but my one problem with them is that compared to like a Chinese economy rice place, the Indian places don't have vegetables. There's never any big bins of vegetables on display. So it's nice here to have this mixed vegetable. We've got cauliflower, carrot, and then some sort of a melony sort of thing. Nice and hot. Let's try some of the beef curry. Tender, it's good. Very flavorful. Yeah, there isn't a lot to talk about with the food. I mean, you can see what it is, and it's good. Tastes hot, fresh. The last remaining dish is this potato. Nice. I often have the habit, I've talked about this in the past, zeroing in. Like if you give me a huge menu with so many options, I somehow end up choosing the one thing that isn't good or isn't appropriate at that time. I end up not in the mood for it, but I chose very well today because there was such a limited selection. So kind of helps that there was a smaller selection in the daytime buffet. Very good. So definitely Planet Doug recommended. I mean, there it is. Lakeshore Grill. And nice comfortable seating. It's not indoors, so it's not air conditioned. A little warm, perhaps. But you get to sit right here with the Klang River right beside you. And you get that amazing view. Check that out. You get a view of the KL Tower, Petronas Towers, and all of Little India in this area. So, yeah, I like this place. I should have come here a lot earlier. My late lunch, early dinner is done. So there's Lakeshore Grill behind me. Yeah, really good meal. And the final bill came to 16 ringgit, which is about $3.75, something like that. So, I mean, I was expecting the beef curry to come back with a menu price of 15 ringgit all by itself, but it didn't. Like the whole thing together came to 16. So the beef curry really was only 2 ringgit. So anyway, I don't know why it would be so inexpensive for beef, and that much beef. It was a lot of it. I actually had trouble finishing it. There was so much food. But anyway, yeah, good value. Really good people there. The guys I was talking to came to my table, really helpful, really friendly, you know, chatting a little bit. So, and there's the setting. Lakeshore Grill on the river shore. and all the neighborhood pigeons down there. And then, like I said, while I was sitting there, you get that view of the KL skyline. So yeah, quite an interesting place. I'll definitely be back there at some point. Yesterday, I had a late lunch, early dinner at the Lakeshore Grill restaurant, and I talked about how I wanted to go there because I kept walking by it. I kept seeing that restaurant out of the corner of my eye, and every time I saw it, I would think, huh, I really should check that place out. And I'm continuing that trend with a visit to a museum that has been on my radar literally for years, and I've just never made the time to check it out. But today is finally the day. I'm at the Chow Monorail station, and right beside the Chow Monorail station is this museum. It's the Biomedical Museum, and it is part of the IMR. You can see a sign down there, I Heart Museum IMR, and that stands for the Institute for Medical Research. And I believe it's open to the public. Beyond that, I don't know much about it other than I think it was founded back in like around the year 1900. You can tell from the look of the building, it's a vintage building. And when you start doing research into its history, you start seeing names that are associated with Malaysian history, such as Frank Swettenham. And I believe Frank Swettenham, he made the original proposal to found the Institute for Medical Research. And of course, back in those days, Malaysia was a very different place, and there were a lot of issues with tropical diseases, malaria, cholera, things like that. And it seemed an ideal place to establish a medical research center to study tropical diseases, venomous snakes, anything you're going to encounter in a tropical kind of jungle environment. So they've got a whole bunch of galleries in there about the history of the Institute, the research they've done, the wildlife of Malaysia, the diseases of Malaysia. So I think it should be quite interesting. So let's head out. I don't know where the entrance is. It might be over here, but let's go check the place out. Museums can be a little bit tricky, so I've come prepared. Quite often a museum will have a rule that you can't take in a knapsack of any kind, so I've made sure that there's nothing super valuable in my bag. I'm safe to leave it somewhere if they ask me to do that. So as I said, I'm at the Chow monorail station. This is probably the best place to come, unless you know the bus system. But if I can get anywhere by monorail or LRT or MRT, that's always my first choice. So I came on the monorail, exit from the Chow station, and then you should be able to see, yeah, the museum building right over this fence. A lot of security, it looks like. Check out that razor wire. They're very serious. This fence, they're not messing around. I also saw a comment online that someone was not allowed in because they were wearing shorts, so they might have a dress code, so I made sure to wear long pants and a shirt with buttons. I'm inside the gates, and they did have a pretty serious process for getting in, because in order to go to the museum, you're entering the grounds of the entire institute. So there is a security guard, and they did have a dress code. It's very clearly labeled there. No shorts, no flip-flops. For women, no skirts, like short skirts. You have to have like a long skirt or pants, of course. And for men, no shorts, no tank tops. So yeah, you have to be presentable when you come here. And had to fill out a pretty elaborate book, name and passport number, phone number, and they give you a pass. Here's my pass with a number on it. I have to record that. So yeah, they're monitoring access to the institute as a whole. And now I'm walking towards the museum. But very friendly security there, but it's not, as I said, it's sort of because the museum is embedded physically on the grounds of the institute. It's not like it doesn't have its own opening to the street. It'd probably be more casual. if it had its own private entrance. But yeah, great looking place. Like all these buildings, very turn of the century or turn of the last century in appearance, right? And I believe the last building up ahead is the museum, and it looks like they have a guard there. So I'm going to put this GoPro away until I get inside. I'm inside the museum now, and I've actually gone through the whole museum once with a sort of impromptu tour guide. I don't know what the arrangements are here, but when I came up to the building, a security guard held me there for he said I had to wait 5 minutes because I guess the original security guard had called ahead and said that I was coming. And then they have a QR code that they said you have to scan that code, which brings you to a website, and then you have to fill out a long registration form with all your personal details, who you are, why you're, what's your history and interest in the museum, that sort of thing. And then a man started talking to me, but I didn't really understand him. And we were standing around for a long time, and I tried to find out from him, like, can I just walk around on my own? But then he told me to wait. And then another man came who spoke English, and then he just took me on a tour. And I did say to him that I'm not interested in a tour. I really like to go slowly and look at everything and read everything myself. But then he says, well, I'll bring you around, and then you can go back on your own. So I went with him on sort of a guided tour, and now I'm on my own. So I've already gone through all the galleries, and there's a wealth of information here. I mean, this is the history of the place, all the research they've done over the years, a lot of photographs of the work they've done in Malaysia, in China, lots of different places, and history of the buildings of the Institute, and a lot of products that they've invented here based on their research, such as an insecticide paint, all kinds of medical research. And I don't think I can show a lot of the medical side of what they do here because it's very graphic and very detailed, and the images would be quite startling if you're not ready for them. So I won't be showing any of that, but they do have some galleries with like bird exhibit, venomous snakes, things like that. And then I'll show a little bit of the interior of the rest of the galleries. One star of the show of visiting this place, you can say, is the building. I find that's often true of museums, and this one in particular because it's housed in such a classic building. So this is where all the galleries are. I just went from the historical gallery, and all the other ones are arranged around this courtyard. Yeah, beautiful building, fountains and trees in the middle there. And gallery 1 there, gallery 4. So yeah, just going to walk around, go from gallery to gallery. Starting, I guess, over here. I think this may have been where we began, I'm not sure, gallery 3. So this is a fascinating exhibit for everyone, and me in particular, because I know a little bit about this already, just from some history in my life. What they call this MDT, maggot debridement therapy. And basically, as they put it here, a modality of intentionally applying live and sterile fly larvae on non-healing intractable wounds. The whole exhibit is about the technologies they've developed for isolating basically the right type of fly that produces the right type of larva that can be sterilized cheaply and then applied to wounds, and then the larvae clean up the wounds. They basically eat dead tissue. A lot of wounds that resist normal treatment and don't heal, they can use maggots to clean out the wound, and then it eventually heals itself. So it's really quite interesting. But again, most of the photography here is quite graphic, so I can't really aim my video camera around carelessly. But here they show some of the larvae and the eggs magnified and things like that. But yeah, a lot of interesting information in here. Another really interesting gallery, and I can aim my GoPro this way. I think the images are safe in that direction. Not safe in that direction, I'll tell you. But this exhibit is all about using leeches to treat open wounds, very similar to using maggots to debride the wounds. And it's something I don't know a heck of a lot about, so it was interesting to read. And the basic idea seems to be that if there's a part of the body around a wound where the blood flow is not strong enough, they apply the leeches. And the leeches, when they feed, they release an anticoagulant that causes the blood to be thinner and it flows better. And then multiple applications of the leeches can help the wound to heal itself. And yeah, so it's quite interesting. They have a bit of the history of leech therapy going all the way back to the ancient Egyptians. And right beside the exhibit about the leeches, there is an exhibit of birds of Malaysia. And first glance, you might think, why are there birds at a place that studies tropical diseases? But at one point they realized that birds migrate. They fly from region to region, and they could carry pathogens, viruses, bacteria from one area to another. So by studying birds, it can help them prevent diseases spreading around any country, that sort of thing. So they have here displays of a lot of the, well, probably all of the birds of Malaysia, and then quite a few of them have a button that you can push to hear their call. That one's really hard to hear. But there was one over here that was much more clear, I think. This one, you can get this, the bird song. It's very nice. See what this bird sounds like. Oh, that one doesn't seem to be working. Let's try this one. Nice. So yeah, an exhibit of the birds of Malaysia. And next door to the exhibit of birds, there's an exhibit of endangered species of Malaysia. So they have information about leopards and tigers, the hairy-nosed otter, gibbons, ground squirrels, and flying fox and bats. Bats are always fascinating to see. Quite a large one there. That would be a flying fox. And the last gallery up here on this floor, and I think it's the last gallery of the whole museum, is about the snakes of Malaysia, both the venomous snakes and then the non-venomous snakes. This might be a very important gallery to visit because even though I don't see a lot of snakes in my day-to-day life wandering around, but apparently people tell me that there are a lot of snakes in Malaysia and there is a danger from encountering one of these venomous snakes. So you have to know what to do if you are bitten by one of these snakes, and this exhibit tells you all about the anti-venom that you need to get at the hospitals. And yeah, they have a lot of snakes here on display. Snake bite and poisoning. How to avoid snake bites. This might be the most important poster to read in here. I better read that. This is actually quite an interesting display. Things I really hadn't thought about, that snakes have different types of poison. So there's a class of snake poisons called hemotoxic, and I guess these are toxins that kill red blood cells and prevent blood clotting. So that leads to internal and external bleeding. And then there are neurotoxic poisons. So that is destroys nerves and nervous tissue, and those are mambas and cobras. And then there's a class called cytotoxic, and these toxins suppress cell functions and cause cell death, and that comes from adders and vipers. And the very first one, the hemotoxic, is the boom slangs and vine snakes. But yeah, all very good to know. I guess the key is if you are bitten by a snake, you should try to figure out what kind of snake it was, like remember its colorings, size, shape, and then basically what it looked like. So you could tell the doctor that this is what your snake looked like, with a red head and a red tail and a white line, and then they can identify what kind of snake it was that bit you, and then therefore what kind of anti-venom to administer. And as my guide told me, quite often someone gets bitten by a snake and they think it is a venomous snake and they get anti-venom treatment, but it turns out it wasn't. So it was like a case of mistaken identity. For example, this snake here is non-venomous, but it likes to hang out near the water. Like, people think it's a sea snake and they misidentify it, and they end up getting treated with anti-venom, but they don't need it because this particular snake is not venomous. But it does look like sea snakes that are venomous. So, and my guide also told me that if you come across a snake that is dead and you're looking at it with interest, don't, because the snake may not be dead. And even if it is, and you touch the fangs, there can be an automatic reaction, even in death, where the fang will puncture you and then inject the venom. Because the venom, even in a dead snake, can be toxic for a very long time. So you have to be careful around them. So yeah, very interesting gallery. This one might be my favorite one. Feels like it's giving me useful information. So I'm outside the museum now, walking back to Chow Monorail station. Really enjoyed that. Really glad I came here finally, after years of seeing the museum and thinking, oh, I should go there someday. I finally went there. Really enjoyed that a lot. I had my video camera out towards the end, filming the interior of some of the galleries, but certainly not all of them, because as I said, there was a lot of quite graphic medical photography in there, treatment of open wounds, things like that. So, but yeah, there was no problem shooting a little bit of video, taking some pictures. There were some exhibits in there where they'd have a sign saying that please don't photograph this because it is a little bit too much. And I was expecting the exhibits to be mainly about tropical diseases, malaria, typhoid, cholera, hepatitis, elephantiasis, things like that. And there was information about those, but the focus was a little bit more on treatment of wounds with maggots, with leeches, that sort of research. And then, of course, galleries about the different animal species in Malaysia, things like that. Yeah, I'm just walking by the museum building here on the other side of the fence. Snake Gallery, I think, was my favorite of them all. A lot of interesting information there. And entrance is free. They've got a little bit of a complicated schedule for the opening hours, so pay attention to that. On Fridays, for example, they close for 2 hours, 1 hour for lunch, and then an hour for Friday prayers. So I think it's only open for 1 hour in all of Friday afternoon. So, and they close for 1 hour for lunch. Yeah, I took a photo of this on my way in. You can see the various hours right there. So it's open from 9 to 1, and then it's closed for lunch, and then 2 to 4. And as I said, they do have a dress code, and you do have to sign in and get your visitor's pass. And they're a little bit formal about greeting you at the museum. So, but they did, I don't know if they do that for every visitor, but they did take me on a short tour, and then I was allowed to wander around on my own after the tour was over. So yeah, highly recommended. Very interesting place to visit. Also, just to see the buildings. Just as I was leaving, I saw a diagram in the main lobby that said that building itself, where the museum is now housed, that was opened in 1928. So that building where we just were is nearly a century old, 100-year-old building just about. So you get to see some interesting architecture as well as some interesting medical information. So here we are, back outside the monorail station, and I'm going to head on to my next small adventure here in Kuala Lumpur. Here we are in my neighborhood still, where my hotel is located in Kuala Lumpur, but I'm out at night. Very different looking place once the sun goes down. And I'm on my way back over there. That's where the Lakeside Grill is located. Ever since I had like a late lunch there the other day, I've been thinking about some of the teas that they make. I saw a picture of something that they called the Handy Tea. And it looked interesting. It looked to be served in a clay cup, like a clay urn almost. And I thought it was some sort of specialty tea. I had no idea what it was. So I typed that into my new best friend, one of my AI best friends, and I asked Grok, I think, what is Handy Tea? And it came back and said that it's a tea from Bangladesh. So maybe the Lakeside Grill is a Bangladeshi restaurant? That could be. And I guess Handy Tea is well known in Bangladesh for being, it's a very popular tea, very strong, flavored, served with milk and sugar. And I guess it's not an expensive tea, which is one of the reasons it's so popular. So it's, there you go. So I'm going to head back there right now and have Handy Tea and something to eat. Yeah, here we are, walking alongside the Klang River. Must have rained. I didn't notice any rain today, but I mean, the river didn't rise, but it seems to be flowing faster than it normally does. So I think some water fell out in the countryside. And yeah, it's a little bit wet here too. In terms of food, I don't know, because when I was there in the afternoon, they said a lot of the things on the menu, you can't even get them until like after 9 o'clock. And it's about 8 o'clock right now, but who knows? Maybe the menu has expanded already. I was looking at the satay before, like chicken or beef satay. Chicken tandoori caught my eye. Yeah, so I'm not sure what I'm going to get. We'll see what I feel like when I sit down. Yeah, the world really comes to life at night. The lights come on, people sitting outside. It's just so much more comfortable once the heat of the day has calmed down a little bit. So it was this morning, by the way, that I went to the Biomedical Museum. And I've been thinking about that place a lot, like all day long since I left from there. Because I remember one thing I didn't talk about when I shot the video was how I felt while I was there. And it had such an impact on me because display after display after display was talking about all of these diseases that were out there and could kill me, right? So it was like the more I hung out at the museum and the more galleries that I explored, I sort of felt under threat. I was like, man, I'm so lucky to have lived as long as I have, and I haven't been laid low by any of these horrific things that I'm seeing around me. It almost felt like being a healthy adult man was almost like I won the lottery. Like I escaped all these dangers, all these horrible things that could have happened to me, from elephantiasis to malaria to cholera to typhoid, on and on and on, not to mention They had displays related to birth defects and then just wounds in general, bed sores, diabetes, and high blood pressure leading to like limbs developing giant sores on them, and they have to amputate, but they use the leeches and the maggots to sort of prevent amputation to treat these diabetes. Anyway, it was just on and on and on. It was almost got to be a bit too much. And as I said, I felt very much under threat, but I also felt lucky that I had not had to deal with any of those things myself. But anyway, yeah, just wanted to add that to my experience of the Biomedical Museum. So here we are back at the Lakeshore Grill. Not so busy, a few people here. I'm just going to grab a table and see what's going on. All right, look at me living the good life down by the river. Yeah, when I was here before, I mentioned the beautiful view you get of the Kuala Lumpur skyline, but now you get to see it at night. All the towers lit up, KL Tower and Petronas Towers out there. And we're off to a good start. Found a good table, and I ordered I said handi tea to the man who came to my table, and he looked a little bit puzzled, but then his face cleared up and he says, handi handi cha, he said. And then I was like, yeah, that's what I meant. So I've already placed an order for a handi cha, and then we'll see what's available from the menu. Absolutely delightful. The handi tea came. It's a lot smaller. Like, they took a photo of it. Someone did, and they put it on the Google Maps review. But it looks like a big mug kind of affair. But in reality, it's quite small. But it's very cool. So there it is, the handi tea. And I guess it comes pre-made with the milk and the sugar. So let's... yeah, it's served very, very hot. I think I'm going to switch hands for my camera here because I need my right hand, I think, to hold on to this. Otherwise, it's going to end up in my lap. It's so hot. Ow. That burns my fingers. Yeah, it had a coating on the top, like curdled milk sort of on the top. Kind of burned my lips. Maybe you can, if you're not tough, which I am not, you can bring it up to your mouth with the dish. Yeah, it's a nice, strong tea. Just have to get through the curdled part on the very top. Yeah, it's nice. I'm struggling with the menu, though, because all the things that I was excited about getting, they're not on the menu anymore. So I don't know, maybe I got a bad menu, or maybe, depending on what's available, they remove pages from the menu. So all the pages that had, like, satay, all the things I was thinking about, they're not here anymore. And even my buffet options that I had from lunchtime, they're not here either. So I have to reassess what I want. And a lot of these items, I don't know what they are. I don't know the translation for them, like snack kind of things. So yeah, give me a minute to sort this out. Ordering has been a bit of a struggle. It's one of those places, this is sort of a thing that I run into all the time everywhere I go, where the menu doesn't actually represent what they have. So me as a customer, I'm asking for things from the menu, and they say, oh, we don't have that, we don't have that, we don't have that. And this goes on for quite a long time until I finally have to turn it around and say, well, why don't we go the other way around? Just tell me what you do have. And then he listed a few things that they do have, and I says, okay, I'll have those, and we'll see what they are. So yeah, they're kind of these are all Bangladeshi dishes, but they're all kind of like snack foods. So I'm getting 3 different snack foods. Like I'm getting a couple of samosas, and then a couple of other things I sort of know what they are. There's something called fuska, he says that they have. And they also have jalmuri. And I wrote these down on my little notepad here, but I've already forgotten what they are, so we'll see what I end up getting. Well, the food has started to arrive. The first dish to hit my table is this jalmuri, and I'm kind of pleased because it is actually like fried rice with potato, and people are telling me it's very, very spicy. And we'll see what spicy means. Sometimes spicy means just flavorful, and then I'm fine with that. But if it's really, really hot, I'm not really a hot food guy, but we'll see how that works out. And then I'm still waiting for the fusca. And fusca is sort of like a deep-fried balls filled with potato and stuff. And then I got a couple of samosas. So we'll see. I'm going to dive into this spicy dish that everyone is warning me about. All right, time for a taste of these jalmuri. Of course, one thing that often happens overseas as well, particularly in Asia, is that the food is often not served in single portions. So the dishes you're ordering from a menu, it's not like a main course surrounded by all the other things that make up a meal. It's like you're supposed to be sitting here with 5 friends and you order 7 or 8 dishes and then you all take from each one. So probably one person is not supposed to eat this much jalmuri, but I don't really know. Chickpeas. A lot of chickpeas. Spicy. It is definitely on the spicy side. No, it's not that bad. My first bite, I thought there's like a real spice is going to hit, but it's more on the flavor side. A lot of flavor. And it isn't served hot. It's just sort of room temperature. Because of my inexperience with this menu, I've definitely not really ordered a dinner. I mean, I did better when I came here for lunch because I just started with a plate of rice and then I got some beef and some vegetables, and it's a well-rounded meal. But somehow from the menu tonight, I had trouble putting together an actual meal. So I think what I've ended up ordering are more, like I said, they're snacks that a group of 5 people would share amongst themselves. So now I've got to look up the names again. I've already forgotten because my second dish has arrived. Okay, so this was the jalmuri. And now this is the fusca. Check this out. Again, it's not really a dish anybody would order for dinner, really, like one person sitting down for dinner. But I'm here to sample different types of food, so it's not totally ridiculous for me to order something like this. And if I can't eat them all, then I can take them away. And I have samosas coming as well. But of course, samosas are very familiar. I was chatting with 2 men, mainly one guy sitting behind me at that table. The man's name was Bashir, from Bangladesh. So he was explaining these foods to me, so I know a little bit more about it. He said that the sauce that comes with this is actually sour. As I said, he did warn me that this would be really hot, and I don't know, I'm not a tough person. I don't really like spicy food, but to me this isn't really spicy at all. It's not really hot. But he confirmed that I asked him, like, if you came to this restaurant for dinner, like, what would you order from that menu? And he basically says, well, we would get a plate of rice, and then we might get some beef, and he wouldn't get anything like this. So he said this is quite sour. We'll see if it really is as sour as he says. I'm just going to sample the sauce. Yeah, it's on the sour side. Very unusual. Oh, yeah, the man Bashir. We were talking, exchanging stories about, because I went to Bangladesh one time, and then talking about how long I've been in Malaysia, where I'm from in Canada. So we were chatting for a while, and then before I know it, he called over someone from the hotel, and he put my entire dinner on his tab. So this man from Bangladesh paid for my dinner for me, and I protested and tried to say, no, I can cover this, no problem. But he says, no, it's our tradition of hospitality, a guest trying out food from Bangladesh. So he insisted, and yeah, I couldn't stop him. So very kind of him. So I'm going to try one of these without the sauce. I always like to do that just to get the flavor of this thing. Exactly as advertised, sort of a deep-fried, crispy ball with, I believe, potato and chickpea puree and spicing all on the inside. I don't know what's on top. They have some garnishes sprinkled on top. So these, on their own, are quite good, like finger food. I can take one of these and just pop it in my mouth, and it tastes great. But now, how to have one with the sour sauce, I don't know how you're supposed to do that. I suppose you could put it on the spoon, like that, and get a spoonful of sauce, and then just eat the whole thing. I'm not sure how you're supposed to physically do this. That's nice. Because these are not deeply spicy, right? There's flavor there, but not a huge amount. So combining it with the really flavorful sour sauce, it's quite a nice combination. So I've got like something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 of them. And I think this dish was actually 10 ringgit by itself. There's like 1 ringgit per little ball like this. So, just gonna work my way through them. Just leaving from Lakeshore Grill. Yeah, right back there. Got a little bit busier. Most of the tables are full now, but it's a very laid back kind of place. People are going there to sit by the river and relax. It often happens with me that part of my order gets lost. I think I'm very bad at ordering or communicating. But anyway, so the dishes that you saw, that's all that came. I think I ordered samosas as well, but they never came to the table. So I had those 2 dishes that you saw. And yeah, they were, by the time you worked your way through both of those dishes, like all of them, yeah, it was a load of spicing. It got hotter and hotter and hotter. There was a lot of flavor, a lot of spice. But yeah, very interesting dishes. Though as I was walking out, I looked at all the other tables to see what everybody else was ordering, and everybody around me just had kind of normal meals, you know, rice and dal and these vegetables and different things. So that's what everybody there was ordering. And yet none of the food that they were eating was actually on the menu. And I find I kind of run into that situation quite often as well, where I go into a place and everybody that is there, they just know everything. So the waiters know everything, all the other customers, they just know what food is available. And then as a foreigner, there's a strong language barrier there. There was like no English at all, so I couldn't communicate. I was using Google Translate, translating to Bengali, and then I could communicate a little bit, but the translations, I guess, weren't very accurate, so it was very, very hard to communicate. But so anyway, I go in as a foreigner, and I don't have a starting point. I don't know what the norms are. I would have loved to have gotten all the food everybody else was getting. It's like, oh yeah, look at that, dal and rice and vegetables and typical Bengali food. The man Bashir, who paid for my relatively fancy dinner, he was saying, we were talking about the dishes I ordered, and I asked him, like, what would you order if you came here for dinner? Because I knew he wouldn't be ordering stuff like what I was getting. And he says, yeah, we wouldn't get that for dinner. He said that's way too many calories. He just wants plain rice, dal, a little bit of meat, a little bit of vegetables. I'm like, well, yeah, I'd love to get that. But you can't order that from the menu. At least I couldn't see it anywhere on the menu. There was no rice, no dal, none of that was actually on the menu. So I sit down and I'm picking items from the menu, but nobody else was doing that. And it's sort of like, as an outsider, you never quite know how to order or what to do. And but anyway, very interesting experience. Meeting Bashir, talking about his life. He's running businesses between Bangladesh and Malaysia, things like that. And talking about the food. And the two dishes that I did end up getting were quite elaborate, quite interesting. Like I said, more snacks than a hearty meal, right? But interesting experience for tonight.